Hello, I'm Jacob. You're watching the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. Today's video, why America needs tactical response. This video actually isn't just about tactical response. It's about the sterilization of firearms handling and manipulation as a whole. So to give you just a quick rundown of where I'm personally coming from, I spent 4.5 years in the military as an airborne infantryman, deployed to Logar Province, Afghanistan, earned my CIB, worked with ODA in a scout unit, and I got to do some cool stuff. And after that, I did seek my own private training. I was an entrepreneur and owned my own businesses, some of which you can see a link to in the description box below. But I continued to seek out to better myself through furthering my training after the military at Tactical Response, Defense Training International, and a few others. And some things quickly became apparent to me. So, a couple more things. I often get comments like, why are you sitting in front of this trickling water? Is this a subliminal message? Is this... No. I film videos here because I like it. And it's a spot that I like. I like to spend time here. And so I wish that were like, you know, it's a simple enough reason. I wish it was simple to understand. I guess sometimes it isn't, but you gotta understand I have a wide and broad viewer base, so sometimes stupid things need to be explained for stupid people. Anyways, you can check out the description box below. I'm a brand ambassador for Palmetto State Armory. I've got a Patreon. I've got some Instagram links down in the description box below. Also, my personal website's beachandtactical.com, where I make and sell custom rifle slings, primarily a rifle sling that I designed in Afghanistan, the Speed Sling. And also I design knives that are manufactured in Michigan by White River Knives. I sell those. The website for that is Exodus Knife and Tool. So, got all that out of the way. The problem, it's a huge problem with the firearms industry today, is that weapons handling has been sterilized. And what I mean by that is weapons handling is a martial art, definitively, and like all other martial arts before it, it has been sanitized and sterilized. And so how this works is if you can rub a couple brain cells together, you realize that nearly any form of violence done in the name of good has been romanticized. You know, the soldier, the samurai, the crusader, the Viking, whatever it is, it's been romanticized. That's fine. Being romanticized makes it marketable. So you can go down to your local Taekwondo dojo and you can get a little piece of that romance for only $30 a month. Plus the cost of testing and buying belts, whatever, okay? That sells. Now, I personally believe that virtually every martial art, as most people define it today, likely had roots in actual fighting. But actual fighting, when it comes to a regular person doing it and practicing for it, is not very romantic. It's not. It's not very marketable. Therefore, all of these martial arts have been dumbed down. A bunch of mysticism has been injected into it. And now, essentially, for the most part, by and large, you are paying for somebody's romanticized idea of what a martial art is. You are paying for self-discipline. And although there are likely grains of valuable information in the flood of absolute BS that will be forced down your throat, for the most part, you are paying for a fantasy. If you want to learn to beat people's faces in, you're going to go to a mixed martial arts gym and you're going to learn jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, Greco-Roman. You're going to learn a large variety of techniques that, when put together, will make you a well-rounded fighter. And in the process of learning to beat people's faces in, you're going to get your face beat in. And that's real. The same things happen to gunfighting. The NRA is the backbone of this sterilization, and the problem is that people who will never shoot more than about 1,000 rounds in their lifetime want to learn how to go somewhere and do it safely. And so what is the absolute most basic instruction is marketed as the expert's instruction. The 4 basic firearms principles are sterilized, rules are sterilized and compounded and made into 3 rules. One of which is anytime you're not using a firearm, unload it. As if, so here's the deal. Places like tactical response, everybody likes to hate tactical response because once you've been indoctrinated and you have no experience out in actual gunfighting, once you've been indoctrinated to believe in this square range type of firearm safety, you believe that anything else is foolishness. You have to be in an exactly and perfectly straight line. You know, keep all firearms unloaded until you're about to use them. Bring them up to the range unloaded. Only load them before you are firing them. Absolutely do not carry your concealed firearm while shooting on the range. That'd be way too much freedom, and it's way too dangerous to carry your personal self-defense firearm on the range in a controlled environment. But once we teach you, you can carry it in real life. And so by sanitizing the reality of a gunfight and turning it into this mystical and fantastical shootout, you essentially you're teaching misinformation that is neutering your students. It is creating and breeding ignorance. The NRA level of firearms handling and training is suitable for your children and nothing more, and certainly not the warrior, the patriot, or the citizen. So, tactical response advertises and trains for the gun fight. You show up to class with a loaded firearm. You will always have a loaded firearm. And you actually train. And so, as I mentioned, this isn't just about tactical response or James Yeager. You can go to DTI with John Farnham. This is what the firearms industry needs, is the James Yeager, the John Farnham, the Clint Smith. We need people who've been there and done that and are not into marketing a fantasy. And so, you know, there's this Bold Carry. I shouldn't ever punch down, but Bold Carry in Florida got all pissy on one of my videos because the guns were loaded. You know, you treat every firearm as if it was loaded, because if it's a tool, it probably should be loaded, right? Or else it's just a paperweight. And so, of course, I keep my guns loaded, and that hurt his feelings. And so on his little website page for his training school, he goes into this whole spiel about how you should always unload any firearm that you aren't currently using. And when he talks about himself, he says, if you're looking for an Army Ranger team leader or FBI, you know, Secret Service sniper, go somewhere else. It's not me. I'm just a regular dude. And that sounds really good for a civilian looking to get practical training for practical everyday life. But what he's actually telling you is he has absolutely no firsthand experience on what the hell he's talking about. And he's taken a couple of safety classes. And he's going to share that with you. And again, these safety classes are child grade, not combat grade. Now, the average person will say, but Jake, I'm not going to combat. I might share Molon Labe and 3%er stuff and comment on every video that I would rather live free and die than live as a slave. But what's the chances? I'm not going to actually shoot my gun. It's this giant, like, mental gymnastics game of you're a hardcore 3%er, freedom-loving, Second Amendment supporting dude who thinks that felons shouldn't have guns and that supports all kinds of gun control, but only the gun control that you think makes sense. And you're going to own your AR-15s, and if the government ever comes to take them, you're going to blow them up. But also, you're never actually really going to do anything, and all of this is just a game, right? You know, you own 12 AR-15s, but not a single kit on which to carry your mags. You've never taken a training class. You'll never take a training class. You've got 4 magazines, all of which look great for Instagram. Anyways, what America needs is an injection of reality. Sadly, the problem is that experience is very hard to come by, even in the military. A lot of high-ranking people in the military walking around with slick sleeves, no combat patches, no bling on their chest, no cool schools, and they're in charge of a lot of people, and they have no experience. We've got a lot of that. Law enforcement. I've trained with a lot of law enforcement that absolutely could not shoot. Essentially, and this is not meant to be derogatory, but if you are a glorified hall monitor that has to illegally generate revenue for the state every single day, you have a lot of responsibility and no time to improve yourself except on your own leisure. And so, you know, the vast majority of law enforcement officers never exercise, ever, and don't train. And again, I've had to explain this in a lot of videos. There's a difference between training, practice, and plinking. Training is getting education from someone of superior experience and knowledge. Practice is going through the drills and routines and using what you learned in training, and everything else is plinking. So if you're just running out and trying to figure things out and plinking on your own, you're not training. You're plinking, you're playing. And you might be improving yourself to some degree, but more likely you are creating bad habits that will take extra work to be trained out of you, if you ever get training. Because if you've never gotten training, you don't realize how bad you need training, because when you get training, you're like, holy crap, I actually do suck, as bad as the voice in the back of my head tells me I do. And my fantasies of being a Rambo badass and massacring all the imaginary bad people in my little fantasy is probably not very realistic. I'm gonna get myself killed. And then you search out more training. But if you've never gotten training, it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know, the more you think you know, because you've never been proved wrong. And sadly, most people will never get training because they will realize how incompetent they are, which will give them the responsibility to train to try to get to the level that they think that they should be at, and they would rather stick their heads in the sand and never get the training in the first place. Got off tangent a little bit here. However, America needs experience, and experience comes through hardship. And if America doesn't get experience as a whole, as a large group of people, if they don't receive that experience which comes through hardship, they need to seek realistic training. The realistic training still has a low chance of failure. In fact, everybody talks about how dangerous tactical response is, and yet they have one of the best safety records of any training school out there. How many NRA freaking instructors go out and have negligent discharges and shoot students and crap all the freaking time? And yet, at tactical response, the only people that have been shot were shot by themselves, and usually they were the most confident and cocky guy in the class. They go out, they've got the wrong holster, whatever the case may be, or Sherpa holster, they've got bad training, they go shoot themselves in the butt. I think it's happened 3 times. A pretty incredible safety record for the number of students and the duration that the school has been open, and yet your NRA fanboys will tell you not to train there because it's too dangerous. Yeah, we need realistic training, and we got to get away from this sterilized, romanticized bullcrap. That's just it. That's all I got. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and I hope that you have a blessed day.